Welcome back to YOTAKING channel, and on today's video I am going to be removing my old cab mounts and installing a kit by DRT Fabrication. So with this kit you're going to receive 2 frame plates, 2 cab mounts, passenger and driver side, also a set of cab mount bushings. You can get them red or black. They supply you with these big washers. One is slightly bigger than the other and you get 2 of each. How this goes installed: you grab your lower bushing, install your middle crush sleeve. Now you put that bushing under the cab mount, install your top side bushing. Now they supply you with these 2 big machine bolts, and this washer is an existing washer that you're going to remove from your OEM cab mount. Now remember, these 2 big washers, the top one is going to go between your cab and your bushing, and then this smaller one goes on the bottom side. Make sure you get these small washers. And last, you install the nylon lock nut for final assembly, and this gets tightened at 80 foot-pounds. Before any welding is taking place, make sure you remove your battery terminals. Now I'm going to go ahead and just remove both front tires. Just make sure when you jack up your rig, you want to make sure you got at least one, if not both tires in the rear chalked. Jack up the truck and place jack stands under the frame rails. Avoid placing these jack stands near the body mounts. At this time, you can take a measurement from the ground to any spot on the body for reference. I'm using this bolt right here. Make sure you write this number down, you will need it later. I added an extra 1/16 of an inch to give me some wiggle room. I gotta lift this truck completely off the frame so I can start chopping this mount. Once I lift this up, I'm gonna go ahead and tuck this under and cover it with a fire retardant garment so it doesn't get burnt. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I got to do right now. Chop it, get it ready so that I can start welding it back together. It's where the easy work begins. This time I am ready to remove the door jamb trim by gently pulling up on it. Next, remove the kick panel nut and remove the kick panel. At this point, you can lift the carpet back onto the driver's side. Remove the foam piece by loosening the white plastic trim nuts and lightly pulling the foam up, alternating between the 2 nuts, loosening a few turns at a time. Remove the large plug in the floor to reveal the body mount bolt. Then you can remove the body bolt with a 17mm socket on the nut and a 19mm socket on the bolt head, only to remove the nut from the bolt. The bolt does not spin. Now you're going to need this washer, and the best way I know how to do this is you get a larger socket, put it through it, bang it with a hammer, and it'll come right out. You're going to need that. Now remove the nut and lower rubber from the body mount bolt near the radiator and leave the bolt in. I'm using a 9/16 speed wrench, but you can use whatever you have that works. Place a jack under the rocker panel and lift the body up until the cab is separated from the factory cab mount. Now it's time to remove the harness. Remove the bolt holding the Y harness to the frame with a 12mm wrench, and you can slide whatever you have under the Y harness plastic above the mount and gently just pry it up. Remove it from the body mount. There is 1 plastic clip holding it to the mount on each side. Be gentle as not to damage the wires inside, and just slide the harness to the inside of the frame so that it's out of harm's way. Cover your harness with something that's fireproof so you won't burn it. I found it very helpful to use a gray Sharpie and mark along where I was going to do my first initial cut, and then I went ahead and used a grinder. All right, brace yourselves. This is where all the fun begins. Start cutting everything you just marked. Here I'm using a 6-inch metal and stainless steel cutoff wheel by Benchmark. I'll leave a link in the description below. These 6 inches do help in getting to those very cumbersome places. Once you cut off your cab mount, try to follow along the weld, and if you can, get that cutoff wheel on an angle and cut through just enough before you hit the frame. You will find it much easier to chip off when you're done. I also made some cuts between the welds to make them smaller pieces. It makes the bending and chipping a lot easier. Switching over to a metal grinder. This will help take out all those hard to get places you couldn't chisel out. It's a little thicker. It's a little smaller, 4-inch. But this demon, Diablo steel demon, El Diablo existe. This is gonna help you take some of that out. Everything out. You'll see. So now I am switching from my metal grinder to a flat disc. This is a 60 grit. This will help polish your metal area, that whole area, so you can go ahead and use your acetone and go ahead and do your welding. At this time, I'm going to go right ahead and start cutting the pinch weld and hammering them in. Now this is going to help out for those who's got a really big tire like mine. I'm going with the 35 eventually, and this is going to really help stop that rubbing that we usually get with 35s. Okay, so now what I'm going to do with some Scotch-Brite, I'm going to go ahead and go over this whole mount here, clean that up, and then throw some acetone on there. I'm also going to put acetone where that old mount used to be on my rig and clean that up nice. So when I go to weld, I got a nice clean area so I can weld that perfectly on there, because you don't want to make any mistakes. That is your support, and you don't want to ruin that. So you want to make it as clean as possible and have a nice and smooth and easy welding experience. If not, you screw it up. And it might not work. So, you know, I am no welder. I'm just a weekend warrior, hobbyist, and I don't know how to do this, so I brought in some reinforcement. So here, my buddy Serge, he's got his own shop. He does body work. He's gonna do it for me. He's here today.
We'll try to weld that on.
He's gonna put some elbow grease on and show me how to get it done, because I don't know how to do welding. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is, now it's time to do the welding. I got it cleaned up, and I'm gonna do passenger side first. The plate that they give you has a P with an arrow. You want that arrow facing forward, and then the mount bracket is going to be welded on like here. This onto the frame, this onto the plate, and the way these rubber bushings go that they give you, it comes pretty much disassembled like this from the package. You want to separate these two. Stick this over here, this little tube, in there just like so. This, you want to make sure it goes through that hole right here and it peeks out. This goes on top. This bolt goes inside from your cab into your mount, and you get two washers. One is bigger, slightly bigger than the other one. The biggest one goes on top. Remember, into the cab, and between the cab is this washer and this top washer, and this bolt goes through your medium-sized washer, and then that small little washer that and then you tighten that up. So temporarily, I'm going to go ahead and put this on there, mount it on there, tighten this up in the cab, get it where I want it, put the plate butt up to it, and I'm going to tighten this down, make sure I got my measurements from my previous, from the first time I measured, which is 24. I'm going to go a 1/16 of an inch, a little higher, so when that cab sits on this piece right here, it's flush the way it's supposed to be. And then here I got my welder. So he's the pro. How are you going to weld this?
Oh shit. Cut.
Say it! Say it!
There. You got the nut.
Temporary nut.
Yeah.
So here, guys, they're gonna give you one temporary nut. This is not the actual one that you're gonna leave on there. This is the temporary one that they provide.
You hold the bolt down.
So now I'm gonna lower this and I'm gonna measure it. I want to make sure I measured it before I did anything. I measured it 24 inches. I'm gonna go 24 inch and a 16. All right, so I'm coming down. So this is temporary. We get it to where we want. I measure it. I might have to come up a little bit. I'm gonna come up about 24 inches and a 16 and bring it up. So, and the whole thing with them giving you this plate is so when the cab is sitting on that mount, all the weight's being distributed through this plate right here. That's the main thing about what sets this apart from all the other mounts that's out there. They provide this plate, this sits on here, distributes all that weight, and then there's another plate that comes down right here. And you weld that, and that just helps everything just be so balanced and even, and it's a stronger structure. And our welder is going to weld here. Can you show us how you're going to weld this? What are you going to do?
Just gonna weld this around it. First, we're gonna tackle it, just so we. I'm done, dude. I don't know what I'm saying.
All right, but. Fuck, dude.
Okay, I'll say it.
Don't do this to me.
I'll say it.
So.
I'm not sure what to do with my hand.
Be good just to hold them down by your side. Yeah, right.
What the welder is going to do. So first, he's going to go ahead and tack weld these right here. Tack weld these in place. Get this sitting here nice and snug. Once he gets this tack welded, he's going to come over here and tack weld these right here. Tack weld this. And now we can take this whole thing completely off, take this rubber bushing out, because you don't want that in there. It can get all burnt if he starts to weld all this and this is in here. So we'll do this. It'll be a temporary deal. Tack, tack, take this off, and then weld it all the way around here, going from this end, do a complete 360, and then doing this all inside, above, and then that plate that goes on here, which is somewhere lingering around here. All right, now you say it, just the way I said it.
No.
Yeah,
How do you like his boots?
I know. Welding?
Those are,
All shop welding.
those are special.
Those are all shot proved.
Now, once you let this cool down a little bit, go ahead and spray paint it. I don't do this too often. Serge is a pro. Him and I are going to compete. You tell me who does a better job. Now, once you're done letting it dry out, go ahead and just button it up and you're ready to go and work on the other side. Okay, now you're ready to do the other side, and just remember, as you lower the body back down to the measurement taken earlier, just make sure to bring the wire harness back to the outside of the frame to prevent damage to the harness. Please don't forget. Also, stick a fireproof garment or something in there so it won't burn your harness. My buddy Eli decided that he wanted to do the driver's side to kind of freshen up on his skills, and I think he did a good job. What say you? So we're gonna do a poll, and we'll let you decide. Is it the driver's side, Eli, or Commodore Sergey? We'll let you decide. 4 years? That doesn't count. So this is Eli. I'll let you decide who did a better welding, Eli the welder from way back, went to school 4 months.
Why do you have to mention that? You know, that's like,
I gotta give the audience context. Context.
no, you're making it sound like sarcastic right there.
So, well, you have the edge. You know, you do have the edge, Eli. So, I think he did a great job. I think he did a great job. But I'll let you decide. Well, Comrade Sergey, the weekend warrior / he does have a body shop, so he does have an edge too.
And it was his welder, so.
And it is his welder. He had it dialed in. And he might have
say that.
He might have turned that knob a little bit.
He might have.
He might have, like, you know, because I wasn't around. He says, "Hey, can you go cook those burgers?" And I went to cook those burgers, and he might have wanted me out of here. We're pretty much done.
Friends over here.
Yeah, I do. They came in for me. I hate asking for help. I like to do everything myself, but I'm just not a welder. And these guys are the pros right here. What more can I ask for? Friends are coming through. Dangerous.
Right?
With all the jokes to the side, I am really so grateful that my friends came through for me on this task. It was really daunting and very formidable, but I just had to get it done. You got to grab the bull by the horns and just ride it out. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. Peace.